Welcome once again. This is SALT, our School of Accountable Living, Timing and Earning. Welcome once again to our channel. This is SALT, our School of Accountable Living, Timing and Earning. This is our home where we talk about life. We talk about the home, the family, the community. We talk about love and faith. Above all, faith in ourselves. Before you talk of faith in another or faith in a deity. I'm still your man, C. Valentine. Today we'll be talking about profit making, profiting, making things profitable. In this life, whether you like it or not, most things in life appear in an analog form. You cannot sell or buy them. When you have just one family on this planet, they had no need to buy or sell. There was a community created before money was invented by the human mind, not by any devil anywhere or by God. No, God was not interested in money or in manipulating anybody. So he didn't bother inventing money. But all the materials that will ever be used to create money, he created everything. Now, that's my own belief anyway. You remember I said I have a Christian background, Christian, and then I believe in God. Now, today we are here to talk about profit. In life, you see something like water, something like air, something like land. Nobody will ever buy or sell land or air or water. You never buy it, you never sell it, as long as they are in the analog form. But you find out that people will buy and pay any price you take, they agree to pay on a plot of land. Remember, I said they are not buying land, they are buying a plot of land, an acre of land, a hectare of land. People will pay for a sachet of water, a bottle of water, a tank of water. People will never be able to, no one will ever be able to buy water. Because without number, within time, those things do not have time values. They tend to have eternal values. When a man is dying of thirst and you give even a handful of water and revive such a person, the value of that water is almost equivalent to the value of his life. Which time you're talking about eternal values, you're not talking about time values this time around. The same with air. Someone would pay for you to inflate his tire. What you pumped in was just to get the tire full to a certain gauge. He will pay. But since you've been breathing air, you never bother to pay or to ask for how much is what. Because actually, the air you breathe does not really have a time value as long as it is air. But when you have air in the cylinder to be supplied to a hospital, you can ask those who create those gas cylinders, those oxygen cylinders, how much it takes to create one. And then they must make a profit supplying it to a hospital, to a clinic, anywhere. Now, we are talking about the ability to make profit. And we have to make a background clear on how we arrived at money. If I would allow my neighbors share in my farm produce in order to feed them, keep them from starvation. And whenever I have need in the farm or in my home, whether to mend the fence or mend my house or build a new house, they would all rally around me and support me, work with me, work for me in exchange for my generous provision of food. Do you know I'm creating a market, but there is no money in between. So every good, every service stands out as its own money. And this time around, so you find that that was the most primitive level of market. But in today's heavy population all around the world, we find ourselves embracing numbers, embracing different currencies to make life easier, to make trade easier. The bottom line, the purpose, the end of every trade is to make what? Satisfy needs and have something by the side called profit. When you trade, you should be able to satisfy the need of he who buys. You must find what economics calls utility. You must find utility in what he buys. I must derive satisfaction, utility in what I buy. And the person who sells must become better by what? A certain margin that he or she has earned on top of all that it cost him or her, all that it cost him or her to generate the goods sold to me or the services delivered to me. Like where I started before, when we reason in an analog format, we don't think about profit. I have been one person that, brought up in a core Catholic home where we were not thinking of profit. If your neighbor adds, you know, gives you a higher price for his or her vegetables, and you begin to wonder, what's happening to you, neighbor? Why are you so greedy? And the neighbor says everything in the market is adding, it's increasing in prices, and you say dollar is dealing with those imported things. Did you import your vegetable? Now the person will still go back and buy some things that have been affected by dollar. You know, a typical example is the fuel anyway. When we import fuel and then you board a public transport, the driver that has bought fuel at a higher rate would not charge you the same thing he charged you last week. He will increase his margin and then you. Now, I had this mentality until I attended a training, an NDE training, Nigeria National Directorate of Employment. We're supposed to be trained for 2 weeks, taken on mentorship, and then empowered with a particular token, some thousands of naira to start a small business as graduates. And then the instructor began to educate us on how to reason about profit. In the market, don't ever think a profit is too big or too small. For you to make a living, to be successful in what you do in the buying and selling in the market, don't ever think a profit is big, too big for me to make, or too small for me to make. You remember a wise man once said, there is infinite money available to the mind who is capable of making and accepting it. You get it? So you might be capable of making a lot of money, but you do not have the mental and moral strength to accept that you should make it. Then you will not make it, even when you have the opportunity and you have the ability. So when we were sensitized on how profiting works, take this home today, that in every market, the forces of demand and supply says take what the market gives you, or be patient enough to wait for the market to change forward or backward, changing for the better for you or changing, it could equally turn against you. Like you are insisting, I must have $1,000 today for my goods. And then the market says, no, we give you 990. And then tomorrow you could come out and the market is saying, please, can you take 2,000 bucks? And you'll be like, wow, so I'm making so much so fast. Greed could set in. You could equally come in a new day and the market is saying, can you take 950 this time around? We're not offering any more. Then fears could set in. Selling in panic or delaying sales out of greed are all killers. They work like gambles. If you have calculations about what controls other indices, other things that control the price of what you're selling, goods or services, and you have a sure control on those things, you could predict where the prices are going. But when you do not, remember, take what the market is giving and sustain your trading. But whenever you sell, make sure you're selling at a price you will be able to buy more in order to sell or produce more of what you're going to sell. That is the basic principle of profiting. And from now on, when your neighbor increases the price of either vegetable or fruits, don't condemn them as unrighteous. Don't condemn them as sinners. Don't condemn them as too greedy. Why? Because they have got to survive, just like you have got to survive. Thank you once again. You're here with C Val, and this is Salt.